Actually, and I call this meeting of the General Government Public Safety Committee to order. Assume attendance is taken. You would join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to comments from citizens. If you would state your name and your address. Well, we'll take the mic as well. Just it doesn't work. Make sure it doesn't work. It don't work. We'll speak loudly.
Art Dollins, 230 South Rollins. When you law enforcement here, this public safety, or does they not show up at these meetings?
He is in the middle of something right now.
Normally they're here.
Normally they are here.
All right, I'm here on twofold. Your little moral midgets across town over doing the school board farce meeting are not allowing me to go to my kid's graduation. And I apologize to law enforcement for getting sucked into this, but I've been up here for 2 years trying to warn this council about intermingling with their immorality and unethics. Just straight up. And I would encourage all of you to look in the Missouri Revised Statute Chapter 213, distinctly 213-101. And this hiring of Earl Bennett, how it was done. I mean, even if you take Roscoe's little ice cream countertop he's got over there, Martin Luther King died a long time ago, folks. He didn't open that job up. When it was open before, there were tons of applicants. You have a board that was appointed that is so heavy laden with people that work at the school, spouses and associated, and since that time, your pharmacist, who definitely has one of the highest reading levels in town, kid gets hired full-time at the school. Now, I'm going to tell you the history of my Title IX with this town, because it was with this town, because at the very beginning of it, I went to Jim Enlow because all the little girls' sports programs were coming through him in the parks. They were divvying out the tournaments and stuff. And the decision was made then, saying, listen, I'm not taking on the city and the school both. And out of respect to Jim Enlow. Well, guess what? There ain't no respect for your parks and recs now, period. And you all were forewarned multiple times. I would encourage all of you to get on the school's policy websites and read their KK about the way they are administering public participation. And the last law they put in there is Miller versus Montgomery County. So that's not some faraway place. And it's a lawsuit that went there and they claimed victory. But 3 of the 5 things, when the judge dismissed it, looks like in favor of the school, were dismissed with prejudice. A prosecuting attorney was dismissed during the course of this thing. The way I read it, a group of administrators lied about violence and a guy hitting somebody that never happened. Now, there's correlations, but really what there is this. I'm telling you that as a Title IX whistleblower, I would have liked to apply for that Parks and Recs job. The probability of it may be slim, but I'll guarantee you there are a lot of women that are very astutely and in knowledge about fitness and all of it. And then even hiring who you hired, within your own rules here, it talks about you should have preferential treatment for people in town. Well, this is the thing I've dealt with the school totally. You've got a group of farmers that think they own the whole town. And they run roughshod over everything with their agriculture empire. They filled the void of our chance management going out. And I'm going to tell you something. They can't hold a candle to the bunch that went out mentally. Y'all got that? And you can take it wherever you want it. Me going over and sitting watching my kids shaking the pathologically dishonest administrator and his long-term board president, my kids shaking their hands, is distasteful to me. So it's bitter, sweet in some ways of saying, well, you know what, you're going to kick me off from my own kids' graduation, but I'm going to tell you something. The women folk don't like it. And you're gonna be hard pressed to find a sporting event or anything that I disrupted unless it was just questions about money. I went to tons of away sporting events with all these people. Dungeon's seen me a ton of them. Has there been any disruption? They're running a libel, slander, dig from the start. That's how Darren Ford got his job. There's a well-documented bomb threat facade that he ran on my brother at the start of this while he was a principal. To complicate the whole thing, you had your track fiasco, which ran double the budget, and he's ran a school into $25 million worth of debt, maybe 30. And I would guess $5 million are just. And what they can't take is when somebody calls them on following the rules. They think I just act out of tough. No, people bring me problems, and guess what? They can be solved. They have to follow the rules, and so do you all. And you can wait for the litigation. Go ahead. Time's on my side because I'm going nowhere. 2 years, my second kid's out. I'm going nowhere. You all got that? I put too much time in my house. And my family's been here since 1837, right there before this town existed. And that bunch coming in and say, oh, you local crazies, well, let's go line up and take some IQ tests and go take some credentials. I'm tired of being ostracized and blackballed because I'd like to go to a youth contest and watch the best kids play. It's not in your community. You got it? Do what you're going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. The bottom line is there should have been law enforcement here to talk to me about whether I decide to go to that graduation or not. I will try to remedy that situation without putting them in the position, but I'm not guaranteeing anybody anything. It's my kid's senior graduation. We put up with a lot of crap to get him here. And I'm talking about crap from a bunch of middle school mental midgets that are hiding behind sovereign immunity. And this board, not specifically all the individuals on it, had allowed it.
Have they actually told you couldn't go to the graduation? Have you asked them?
I'm waiting for remedies. My wife sent a deal, and and the way the whole thing's constructed, here's how simple it is. They use daisy chain is a discussion for running illegal quorums is what I call them, but you call one member you think sympathetic and then you build a coalition, and it's legal in Missouri. You can build your daisy chain quorum and get something settled and say, well, we didn't all meet, and by the time you get there, it's done been settled. The problem with Mr. Ford is we catch him blind and coming and going and then not telling either side. I got 3 or 4 times that he's told people, board talk about stuff, and former board members said, we never discussed that at all. So he can play his run around the rosy stuff. Him and his wife have probably pocketed $1 million on this place. And I'm going to tell you, it's all well documented on the federal website. All of it. All the stuff that's been done to me and my family's been documented. You guys just seen bits and pieces of it. You do what you're going to do. They brought the mess up into this body when you hired Earl Bennett. All of the nonprofits that were formed the 2 years before that, gotten everything through your friends at the park, are sitting there handing all of it over, all the youth stuff, over to that mechanism with the same crap that's went on in school for 20 years.
We didn't hire Earl Bennett. No, we didn't. Park Board hired Earl Bennett.
Read 213. You got to delegate that stuff, and you're going by old laws, and it says right here on this one right here, if any laws break these human rights laws, and Johnny Hinton and crew kicked your all's fannies on human rights, when it talks about employment, and it talks specifically about recreation employment in these laws. It's a run around the rule thing to get around EEOC, but ultimately you all delegate it. That's why it is offensive to me for Mike Kincaid to sit there and play the game he's playing. Offensive to me. He's a pharmacist. He's well educated. He has to do things to the utmost on people's physical health, reading complex medical prescriptions. And then to sit here and say, well, what the heck, we live in Centralia, we can do whatever the hell we want.
No, he probably didn't say that.
In essence, I guarantee you, not opening that job up to the public, he did say that.
Did the job have to be open to the public, man?
The job is filled by however the park board desires to fill
Okay, there you go.
Based on what law?
it, based on their own decisions.
No, based on what law?
I'm not gonna argue legal.
Right, because it lists the laws under there, and you take it all the way through, and you take your 1950s, the way you want to run stuff, and guess what? You can twist it around wherever you want to take it. When it comes back to it, you have to give equal opportunity to all those protected classes. Women, race, and guess what? Whistleblowers too. That's what Title IX is. So I know you'd love to take it back and go back to the 50s and 60s around here and say, here's the king, we got our White House out here, this is how we run Centralia. But guess what? You're going to run head on into this too.
If you're alleging there's a violation by the school, Title IX, it has absolutely
No.
zero effect on the city of Centralia.
No, I'm telling you that you're doing the loop-de-loop around the progression of the law, saying that this board doesn't have authority over the hiring of the rec center. This isn't Raymond Conley sitting out there pulling somebody with a weed eater to do a volunteer job on one little tree out here when there's no swimming pool or anything. This is a big part of your city.
We don't hire and fire at the park.
Who writes them their checks? Them?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's totally in their name.
Out
None
of
of
the
it goes
park
through here.
budget. That's why they got their own board. So if you have a problem with the park board, you need to go to their meeting.
Well, all I'm doing is say read the statutes.
All I'm saying is if you got a problem with the park board, go to their meeting.
Can
Take
you
it up
read the
with them.
statutes? Read the statutes. This is, the EEOC stuff is real simple stuff. It's not even that complex. We've been fighting about it for 50 years.
I'm just saying, if you have a problem with the park board, you need to go to the park board.
You already will. Mr. Duns, I'm glad to see you're here.
No place on earth I'd rather be.
Well,
Ah. Somebody in charge?
Yeah, no, we were in the middle of doing comments from citizens. Did you have any other points you wanted to make?
yeah, I'm about me going to my kid's graduation. Is there anybody
And-
ring? Anybody ring?
Right.
And
let's just
we
end
don't,
this.
we don't control that.
We have no control over that whatsoever. Nobody here has any control over it. Nobody here is going to try to dictate policy to me as to how I operate the police department. Your fight, if that's what you want to call it, is not here. It's there. You know what you got to do, Arthur. Don't make this my fight.
I appreciate that. I said right there, I apologize at the start to the police department
Thank you.
for putting you in a position.
Thank you.
But I have been up
God
here.
bless your keep making heart.
Well, right, but I've been up here 2 years talking about the intermingling. And it's here, we're here.
There isn't any intermingling, we don't control our board.
There you go.
I appoint people to the park board, and they make their decisions.
That's your position.
Yeah.
And, hey, yeah, I'd like to volunteer for that open parking lot position.
What,
Is there an open or has it been filled already?
what position?
Dick Warren.
Dick Ward.
It's already filled.
Who am I?
Is he not an alderman anymore?
Dick Ward.
No,
You mean park board position?
Yeah.
Yes.
No kidding.
I have no idea about that.
Obviously.
There you go, we'll put that, we'll throw that in the pot.
Thank you.
Hey, I understand your all's position, but I'm gonna tell you something. It's not consistent. Your parks and recs is not a weed eater in one tree anymore.
Right.
No, there's several trees in the park that need to be weed eated.
Yeah, and
They
there's
take
a
care of
whole,
that.
there's a whole lot of cash running through there for little kids with wanting to play ball, and I do have some expertise in that area.
Did you have any other points, Mr. Strong?
Pardon me?
Did you have any other new points?
No, that's good enough. I've voiced my opinion. Human rights statute, state of Missouri. I would encourage you all to read that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for the police department comments.
Any other comments? I'm closing that section. Public safety, city prosecutor, doesn't look like we have anything.
Is she gonna make it on Monday?
I will call her tomorrow to
Okay.
find out.
She's planning on it. suppose
Yeah, I know
it's
she
okay,
was planning on it,
she's planning.
I didn't have confirmation yet, so I'll try and call her tomorrow.
Okay. Police department activity reports in your packet. Any questions or comments?
Just want to say that, I think Larry and the police department, they're doing an outstanding job. Catching bad people. So,
Second.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any other on the police department?
Now or later?
Yeah.
All right. Now listen to this.
You want me?
I want to bounce an idea off of you. And when we do this, try not to immediately, spit on the floor, throw your chair down, as I would do, if you immediately hate it. What we're going to try to do is I want to introduce it tonight. We might talk about it again at full council meeting. But I'm going to talk to you about a one-way on Collier and a one-way on Rollins, just look for the 2-block stretch. This comes as, this idea is born out of, just seems like maybe once a week, sometimes more, we get the calls at the police department, and Mr. Reeves, principal now, Coach Reeves, he will be here, he says, full council meeting Monday night to speak or answer any questions that you may have with respect to it.
Okay.
I want us to give it some thought. Each of you have your little mappy who's there, color coordinated, I might add. And James, you have, okay, all right. My thinking is this. I'd like the one-way, I say the idea is one-way southbound from Sims to Lakeview on Collier. This is all around the elementary school. You may have to turn your little mappy poos. Northbound for the same length from Lakeview to Sims. You'll notice my expert estimate diagram here.
I like that's not to scale.
Not to scale, thank you very kindly.
Didn't even use the radio.
Of a morning, just for 10 or 15 minutes, as you might guess, prior to school, or the 10 or 15 minutes at after school time, it is,
Good luck.
there's some, that is a great word. I was going to say something like helter skelter. Gridlock is a good word. And the reason why I'm saying don't just immediately spit on the floor because you don't like the idea on his face. My plan would be this. We'll speak about it. Certainly I want the city administrator to weigh in. James will put something in the paper about it. And then we ought to get some yin and yang from folks. And my thinking about the one-way is all the time. All the time. My thinking is also, if we get this done, say in a month, 6 weeks, that it's got a little time to be in play before the first day of school. This is not just my idea. It is an idea. Alderman Magley thought, well, I'd go the other way, but I sat there and I looked at it, and I went down there several days just to look. If you go south on Collier from Sims one way, then you're, in a perfect world, you're opening up, the kids are going to the right. Okay? Kids are going to the right
Northbound.
on Rollins. In the little picture that you have, some of you may know that one house there on Rollins, beside that little street, what is that? By Burnett, that there's a parking lot there now.
Yeah.
If we hear from folks that live there, okay, fine, then we've addressed it. I just don't know how else to address it other than doing it one way all the time. One more thing. The buses come in right now, both dumping off for school and loading up to go away after school from Jefferson. They would turn in. Mr. Reeves and I talked about a couple things he could do. If we do the one way, they'll come in from the east of a morning or afternoon, turn in this little driveway. Okay? That's, the school ought to be down here. But they would park facing west. Load, come back out on Sims and get to Jefferson as quick as they can, which is what they do basically now. The bus thing really isn't, there's just a couple buses that come in and out there, you know, before and after school. But again, I say, it is an idea. It might not be the idea, but it is an idea. Okay? So now I guess we wait to hear if there's any.
Chief gave his reasons. What were your reasons for going the other way, for moving it?
Because the bus comes down Sims, and I have them unload in front of the school,
Now, when you say in front,
in front of the elementary
On the
school.
north side?
on the north side,
No, on the west
West
side,
side.
on Rollins.
that, we're not gonna do that anymore. Mr. Reeves already said that, we're not doing that anymore, because there's plenty of room right here.
Can they make that turn all right out of that parking lot back
Yes.
onto Sims?
The little mappy thing is better than my thing. It shows you. Yeah,
It's up here.
I'm sorry, I gotta turn the face north or I'll not be able to explain that. They're, yeah, they're in the middle, kind of to the middle, kind of to the west.
Yeah.
All right, they're gonna go westbound on Sims and turn, make a left turn into that into the middle thing and load right there on that, in that parking lot thing. And then they'll load right there, and when they come out, hard right, back eastbound on Sims.
It's not all the buses, right, Chief? There's like one or two buses.
Two buses.
Yeah,
Two buses.
buses. Two buses.
Because their main stops the middle school, and then they split from there, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That won't vary very much. I've been down there of a morning and an afternoon when I've been pondering this. Two buses.
Now, would it be better if they come off of Lakeview, down Rollins, and turn into the parking lot,
You mean the buses?
the buses?
You could certainly do that.
And then open, make that off of Collier Street, that entrance a little wider, where they could go straight onto Sims from there?
Like this.
And when you say make it wider, you mean like city make a wider turn? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, could the school make it a wider entrance there?
Wider entrance here.
I guess you could. That would be a Lynn thing, but I like your idea about that.
Mhm.
And then they wouldn't have to make that turn
Yep.
Yeah.
back onto Sims, they
Yep.
could just,
Well, they
Yep.
could come up here.
I like that.
Drop them off right here.
Well, Mr. Reeves wants to get away from street at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
That's perfect.
Because he wants those buses right up here on that north drive there. And I understand his thing.
No, that'll work.
Anything else, that's a great
I think
idea
it
about
makes sense.
Mr. Reeves would do anything to make it better. And that is a pretty good lick. To come down Lakeview where you could turn your bus anyway, come up
Yeah.
Rollins.
Yeah, you can turn right into there.
I will
Right
tell you
through.
that if you do it, I think the way that it's done is the way it should be done, because this street is pretty much straight across.
Right there it is, yes, sir.
And so if you come down this way, you don't, you're continuing on and traffic could go north. So it makes more sense to cut it off there, whereas this one, the street is
It's offset.
offset.
It is.
And so it makes more sense to make these people go like this, and then this would come out this way. Besides which, you've got this parallel, or this angle parking.
Angle
on that
parking,
side.
Yeah, it's already there.
So, to me, this is the right way to do it. Question is do we do it, or what
Do we do, there you go. And it's your ward. You and somebody else's ward. Again,
Dick Ward's word.
well, is that true? I mean, is Dick,
Dick's not here.
Yeah,
he didn't,
no, he's still on here.
oh, okay. I
Yeah,
thought
he
the way
just
Arthur
didn't
was
make
talking,
it.
he just, no.
Arthur didn't know what he was talking about.
What's the penalty for going down the wrong way street?
Well-
the wrong way?
Now,
That,
Cause I got a mom that's been driving that way for
Yes.
lots of years.
yes, you do. Now,
only take her once.
now, here's the risk you say, here's the risk you take if you say these kind of things publicly, okay? Help me out here, Brett Myers.
Other side, by the circle.
Oh,
He's on that
no,
side.
no,
Mom,
okay.
Dad, you got
Brett
it.
Myers, Coach Enlow,
And Kenny Cox.
and you know where that's gonna.
You might have to go sell this stuff.
Well, that's right. They're gonna read it in the paper, and then these, yes,
Yeah, you might.
yes.
This
Now-
required public comment anyway, wouldn't it?
Well,
Well, I don't know that it would.
Or do you have a night-
I certainly think we would.
Oh, yeah.
or do you have a night for public comment with respect to the traffic change?
That's the council's wishes.
I
I
think,
would-
Worst case scenario is I could go out and direct the signs to be put up for 60 days as an experiment. That might get pilloried for that, but that's,
I think we need to have public comment.
but
I think so too.
to do it permanently would take an ordinance.
Yes, yes, I'm all good with all this.
And that would
But-
require
Now,
council meeting with an opportunity to be.
Harvey Million, Brett, your mom. Now, let's just say, I've said we're gonna, it's a one-way street all the time. James, just help me out here a little bit. Does that mean at 11:30 at night, if Brett Myers comes back from bonding somebody out, well, if he bonded somebody out, he's probably not there. But, say, would that be, will we have to jerk Brett Myers out of his vehicle and put the figure 4 leg lock on him because at midnight he slipped up here? No.
Depends on who we bought it out, I guess.
That's exactly right. Who'd you bond out?
I call that situational.
Situation.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But, and do we,
Pay attention, Larry, that's on video, it'll come
What?
back to haunt you.
I know.
Yeah.
And do we, do we do a dynamic stop on Denny Rush's mom? Because, no, the main crux of this, emphasis, thank you, is if you live down here in the, what'd you call it?
The grid.
Well, the gridlock,
Gridlock, yeah.
is the pleasure worth the pain? That's the question.
The only thing I don't like about Sims and the buses on Sims is that's such a narrow street.
It is,
I mean, I think they'd be
19
better off
feet.
coming off of Lakeview.
yes, I think that's doable. Mr. Reeves will do,
Can we make that one way during school times?
I would recommend no.
No,
I would too.
That-
That's,
you'll have
Yes.
less confusion.
I think, yes, you can do whatever you want to do, but here's the thing. What time does McDonald's stop selling breakfast?
10 o'clock? Alright. Okay.
Theoretically.
See my point? I mean, they've been doing that since, and I still have to think about when I want them to griddle, and I'm always 5 minutes late. So yes, I gave that some thought, but if you do it, give some thought to just doing it.
I don't know whether you were here when we had temporary stop signs at a couple of locations like Center Street and Jefferson. And those are just liability suits waiting to happen.
Yes.
Because people don't know when they apply and when they don't apply.
And-
And they're not watching their watches to
Yeah.
check against the
And you know,
signs.
school speed zones,
The,
you know?
the
That's stuff
Rollins
I'm
thing,
Yeah.
I'm not, the Rollins thing, I don't think we'll hear too much about that if we go forward. But some of these folks, it's gonna be, it's just a change. and I get it. But just think about it and see what we hear. That's my thing.
On the surface, it looks great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or not a time, what about during school, when they start and when they end school? You know, from the
Well-
time,
the first 7 months of the year, or 8
yeah,
months
the
of the year.
first 7 months of the year, whatever. And then in the summertime, open it back up too.
My suspicion is that it would still cause problems. Gotta keep it
Witness
Gotta keep it simple.
Whistler, Jefferson, or right here at this corner by City Hall. Both have had various configurations of stop signs, and people to this day remember them differently than the way they're signed now, and stop when they don't have to, and don't stop when they should. and
Right.
Doing it.
Change is hard.
Change is difficult.
Was there ever actually a stop sign there?
Huh?
There used to be.
Was there a stop sign?
It used to be a four-way stop.
Okay, maybe that's why I stopped there.
I do too.
It
James.
says, okay, it's never a four-way stop while I've been in town, I still stop there sometimes.
But
I stopped being a four-way stop before I was hired, so you're going back 30 years and people still react.
I appreciate you listening. If there's anything, I've told you my thinking, what I know about it, you already know.
So you say
I don't know.
Bob will be here next week to talk to us?
Yes, yes, sir. That's his plan right now. He'd be here tonight, but they got school board tonight.
right.
But he likes the idea. He came up and said, "Is it true you're there?" I said, "Yes, I'm just pondering it. I don't know what to do."
Okay.
And he said, "I'd like to come up and speak in favor of that if we could."
Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for listening. I
If
appreciate it.
if it's in the paper that we're talking about it, and he comes up and talks, I think that would be worthwhile to see what people think.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe if he puts it in the paper, I'm not a paper guy, but if he says Coach Reeves coming Monday, maybe other folks will say, "I'll just go up there and weigh in on that too." I don't care.
Maybe you can have our public hearing then.
But we've addressed it. One other thing, Lynn, I think Lynn's told me, now sometimes.
This has
not
been
as I used to
discussed
be,
before,
that they've made a run at this kind of thing before.
and there were objections, and I can't remember the objections, it's been a really long time. But I do think that the objections came from the affected adjacent property owners, like Mr. Rush.
Yes, I get that part.
He's already checking in with his mom right
How fast can she get down here?
She won't, they wouldn't be able to come to a meeting, I mean, somebody had to call and talk to them. They had to be there.
No, I know that. But yeah, there's gonna be some yin and yang as we go forward. My thinking is our enforcement is at the first of school, trying to get everybody followed. Thank you all for listening, that's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to fire department. Activity reports in your packet. Any questions or comments?
Has there been any comments from the firefighters about their new pay schedule? Nick?
Well, there'll be a comment when we get the next, we send you the next payroll. It won't be from them, they'll be happy probably.
Okay.
I think we're averaging 2 or 3 a day now.
Man, we got good.
What are you thinking?
We got
Is there, I was,
Wow.
when we had the power outage, visiting with you, or Matt, mentioned that there were several people that called for portable generators that
No, just a second.
was, I would call borderline, not really life-threatening. Is that something you might want to address in your protocols or something like that?
Yeah, we have a oxygen list now that Phyllis gives us.
Mm-hmm.
And she keeps it up to date.
Yeah, she's got on with it. And the trouble is, some of these people nowadays, I guess, through the medical world, we sleep with oxygen, you know, and some people need to sleep with it. That, we had a few people needing generators for just that reason. The generators are really for somebody that's on oxygen 24/7 that need to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so,
But these CPAP machines
Yeah.
were just,
that's like a convenience if you ask me. I think maybe one day I might have to have one, but I'm just saying.
Not real
Well, no,
convenient, I can tell you that.
Huh?
Not real convenient.
Without electricity?
Without the electricity,
So you've gotten used to it,
No. I wasn't worth nothing the next day.
But you're still here.
Do they have, I mean, they have portable tanks or something, I don't know.
I don't know how they run. I think they run off.
See, I don't run oxygen.
Yeah.
Mine just blows air.
Just the machine blows air, see. It's not an oxygen tank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like sleep apnea.
But some of them do have to take oxygen. The ones that
Yeah, some of them, yeah.
the sleep apnea machines do.
You know what really helps during that? I mean, he's been around here a long time, his whole life, I've been around here for a little while. And you kind of know the drill. It's not as though we're trying to bring somebody up to speed all the time. I mean, just, it works outside of a few glitches that you don't plan on, it just kind of works.
And another thing we talked about too, I mean, we could probably send somebody down to help answer the phone, and that we can talk directly if you need it sometime.
I appreciate you saying that. I'll text you or call you if I need somebody to come down, but most of the time, I tell you, dispatchers just come out of the woodwork to start answering the phones. But I appreciate that, thank you.
And then I also, another thing with these oxygen machines, it's my opinion, so I'm gonna let it be, but if you know that you need to be on oxygen, wouldn't you have your own little generator or something? It's something to look into, but I'm just thinking, if I was on oxygen all the time, I wouldn't depend on somebody to bring me a, because we pretty well run out of generators, I mean, if a couple more would have called. Sorry.
Yeah.
I understand that there was one of the nursing homes ran into some problems. Didn't have generators. Is that not a requirement that they have something like that?
We powered up Harry Tall, part of it for them. Bristol Manor called, and when they got over there, they just wanted to power a refrigerator. Well, I'm not gonna power it. If I'm gonna power a refrigerator, I'm gonna power up mine, but we're not powering up a refrigerator.
Yeah.
And then I was told the other day that Bristol Manor told everybody that the fire department told them they had everybody come and pick up their parents or whoever was in there.
Patients, yeah,
The fire department did not tell them they had to leave.
that is correct.
So maybe they ought to have their own backup generator or something.
I wondered if that wouldn't be a requirement by the state if it's a necessity for it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would be medically necessary, but it could be a requirement. Huh. Any other fire department other than that? No. Moving on to emergency management.
I don't have anything to report.
Protective inspection?
We're up to 12 units of building permits. 2 demolition permits now issued, one. Well, I've instructed people to turn off the power, and I'm waiting for it to come back for Reverend Hartrose's house over on Bar Street. The one that's kind of got the crawl space open and it's just on some other blocks.
Right.
That should be coming down soon. He will be part of the incentive contract, as will a house down 700 block of Allen Street. And I'm still trying to get the rest of the work done on demolishing the house on 500 block of Allen Street. And I'm working with a local resident to fill a donut hole with annexation. Perhaps provide site for a new church. Those are coming up in the near future.
Excuse me. All right, moving on to general government and finance, economic development. There is a credit meeting minutes in your packet.
Chamber did not have a meeting this month.
email from Jenny in the packet.
Right, the credit. Any questions? Moving on to park board. Golf carts in park.
Did they get in touch with Larry today? I couldn't come over and talk to you about it.
No?
No.
Who's supposed to come over? Police commissioner? Who's supposed to come over?
No, either or Mike and Kay. They have observed tire tracks for golf carts in various places in the park that one would presume were not open to vehicular traffic, such as around the teardrop, people using golf carts to get up to the top of the ponds to fish. People getting close to shelter houses and some other sites. They seem to think that a golf cart doesn't have to evade the same things as if you had a pickup truck or something like that. And, you know, we have the regs that allow golf carts of certain types and slow-moving vehicles of certain types and all these other sort of energy-saving alternatives. And they were discussing the issue of whether they were going to need to ask for more enforcement from the police, or whether they were just whistling in the dark to try and close off some of the places in the park for those vehicles without creating concerns for access to ADA people who would need to get closer to avail themselves of the facilities.
Right.
Thing they were talking about most at the time was, are they going to allow people who want to do the disc golf to just tool on down through the whole course, as opposed to doing what you're supposed to do, which is get exercise while using the disc golf course. They didn't arrive at any conclusions. They thought they would talk to Larry about that. And there's nothing they're asking of you other than keep it in the back of your minds in case they are asking for some sort of positive.
This might come back.
Yeah, it might. Either as restriction or some sort of halfway measure that opens up part, but doesn't open up another part.
Okay.
They were sort of feeling away too because it was new to them at the last park board meeting.
Ready? Cemetery report, the committee meeting, looks like just the minutes, no, sorry, it's right on the minutes with the agenda in the packet.
I think there's a meeting on Wednesday.
Yeah, May 14th.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of the cemetery, I was out there on Saturday, a funeral. The grass is tall, the dandelions were taller. I've talked to Phyllis about it. She's aware of it. She is trying to take steps to solve the problem. I don't know whether that falls under their contract, mowing contract, to do spraying for dandelions. Is that something that we would have to do separately, Lynn?
They're working on it.
They're working on it. Boy, there's a lot of dandelions out there.
There's a lot of dandelions everywhere.
But,
And the park's working on the same problem, and
But anyway, I mean, it did not look very nice out there for a funeral, for a weekend. And like I said, I talked to Phyllis, she's aware of the problem.
both of those are going to be topics for that.
And she is working on resolving that problem. But my wife wanted me to bring that up.
Thanks, sir. Assignment of mausoleum contract.
There is a contract with Mr. Lee, dates back to 1993, and it has not been changed since. We're using proceeds from the A.B. Chance Memorial Fund. The contractor takes care of the mausoleum and the adjacent Chance space faces out above and beyond care that would ordinarily be present in the cemetery. Flowers on a regular basis and watering on a regular basis when needed. Lots of things. It's, well, almost 2.5 pages worth of text with no paragraphs. And the price has stayed the same since then. One of the components of the contract is that whoever had the contract, either an individual or a contractor, would be providing guarantee that there would be workers' compensation insurance for people working under this contract, and it would be reimbursed separately from the actual labor for the actual cost of that insurance. We want to protect ourselves, but we weren't considering that those employees, whoever was doing this, was not to be an employee of the city. But you know, we get audited every year, and any contractor, if they don't show proof of insurance, we're going to get done by our insurance company, who will assume they're employees for sake of assessing the insurance rates. Okay, Jim asked me about this, and I had some doubts and was looking into it, and then Bill Miller stopped by and offered suggestions, and between the two of them, they have suggested that we reassign the contract at the same amount to the Chance Foundation, who also employs Mr. Lee to do the gardens and the guest house and the rose garden and all that, and that he could then use that workers' comp insurance to also cover his work with the mausoleum. And so at the moment, last year we spent $2,923 for workers' compensation insurance.
It went up.
It's an occupation that has a high rating. They have minimum rates for a business in this. Even if you're a one-person show, you pay through the nose for workers' compensation nowadays, and it's likely to go up.
Right.
So the suggestion is, if we re-sign this contract to the Chance Foundation, they employ Mr. Lee just like they do for the other works that they're employing now, and the incremental change in their premium that they're paying him for the work he does for them will go up a very small amount, if any. Mr. Miller's looking into that for me, but I wish this was something coming out of the cemetery fund where we were really desperate for money.
Right.
Yeah.
But even the mausoleum fund, which has a great deal, probably is spending down principal for the last couple of years, because I think 6% of $500,000 is still diddly squat compared to the size of the contract. So I asked for feedback. Is this something you want to hear?
I think it's a smart idea.
I do too.
It's coming from the Chance family through the foundation.
Right.
I
It makes sense.
mentioned in passing to Merritt. He was the one that managed to find the old contract.
So will this be,
It would take an ordinance.
sure, so this will be brought up in next meeting.
Yeah, if we can get it done and try for the board.
Yeah.
We've already made a payment to Mr. Lee, but he can go back and get credit
Sure.
for the unused part of the year, and thereafter, we wouldn't have to
Right.
make any payments except to the Chance Foundation.
I think it's a smart idea.
Yep, I concur.
For the use of semi-public money.
Moving on to tree board report. I don't believe there is one.
I have not received any information about
Library board, we've got the information in our packet from the last meeting and the agenda for the next meeting.
Which is
Tomorrow, yep. Any questions or comments?
Sir, that could be
Absolutely.
At your hand over there.
Absolutely.
Got one of these.
Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you all for listening, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Any questions on that? None. Moving on to April financial statements, information from the packet as well.
It's only the first month out of 12, there's not a lot of trend
Exactly.
you can develop on this.
I'm hearing no questions. Moving on to accounts payable over $1,250.
Which we have determined are not available because Donna was
Yes,
still recovering.
we know what they will be, but not really so far. But I can't tell you much. I mean, we're going to back it like I normally approve.
What's unit 20? You know, right off the top of your head. It's not a big, I was just asking.
No.
Okay.
Ground, power, and equipment.
Yeah, unit 20.
I could look it up in about 30 seconds.
No, it's, I was just asking.
Could it be a piece of equipment, it could be a vehicle.
I'd say-
Likely street department, but
Just
Yeah,
remember your question for next meeting, because I'll have the big,
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah. The monster.
well, it is sometimes pretty
Yeah.
bad. Other general government, MML Central Region meeting.
probably need a head count on who's going to be attending, so I can send it to the municipal league, just like if we're going out of town, except I would anticipate later attendance.
Yeah. I'll be there.
When is it?
It's
The 28th.
which is a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday, yes. 28th of May.
Put me down.
It's here, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes,
At
at,
Country Club.
at the Golf and Social Club.
So I would think max participation would be,
Assume that every alderman will attend.
Yes. I'll be here.
I think so.
I'll try. Depends what works like.
What time is it?
Starts at 5:30, I think, is, or
Social
5.
hour, and then you eat by,
I'll vouch for you, so you got it.
6:15,
Yeah.
6:15.
Can you vouch for me too?
Yeah. And I think Larry probably will too. Okay, I'll ask him.
Plus me and Larry.
Yeah.
I think Denny will go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Denny, you'll be too.
Danny needs to do it too.
Now,
It's pretty far away.
The only person who can walk to the event.
And you'll probably be late, the last person there. I know how that works.
You gotta be gearing up for Anchorfest.
Yes,
You'll
we
be
will
okay. Be okay, you need to go.
all right, moving on, City Hall repairs. Looks like we've got something from Simon Associates.
Okay.
Oh, well,
Yes.
before you get off of MML, there is the, workshop this summer,
Oh, yes,
June,
newly,
for the,
newly elected
newly
officials.
elected officials.
That's right.
yes.
If you're interested in that, it's a good thing to go to, you learn a lot, it's a Thursday and a Friday, I mean, a Friday and a Saturday.
I'm
So you pay
free
for
most
it?
of June, so.
You off most of June?
That whole teaching thing.
The city does pay for the attendance, and,
Yeah, there's a tuition and then it'll be at least one night at the hotel down there.
if you stay overnight, which I drove back and forth when I did.
Where's
It's
it
in
at?
Jeff City.
In Jeff City. Usually it's at the Capitol Club Hotel. But you could pick a different hotel this year. Anyway.
It's Jeff City.
Yes.
There's not a lot of choices.
You got Holiday Inn Express.
All right, City Hall repairs. See the information from Simon.
Okay, long, seemingly a very long time ago, we asked Simon to do some work to help deal with City Hall and incidentally for the gazebo, dealing with a variety of issues. Money got a little tighter, so I'm not ready to pull the trigger on everything, but we really need to deal with the roof, because until we do that, all the peeling wallpaper and leaks in the ceiling and stuff like that, our guys isn't anybody good.
I agree.
They have prepared some specs for that. We also need the cut point, particularly in the wall. So I have asked them to go ahead and do it as two packets, one roof repair, one masonry work and tuck pointing. And masonry work can be by square foot or square yard, so they can deal with the bad spots there, and then if they examine the other three walls and find some small spots that need work, we can take care of that. And they gave me some cost estimates. I think that this will be close to being within budget. If we take the shorter course, I am not an expert in this. I think maybe doing a full membrane for the roof all at one time for all of the sides up and stuff like that might be preferable to doing it piecemeal. And so I go to you folks for a little bit of guidance on that. That's the last, the
Number
alternative
6.
6. That would put us a little bit over what the mountain electric budget is set at, but is doable. And it's one of those, you do it now or do it later sorts of activities.
I think it would be preferable to do it as a single shot. I mean, he
Yeah.
offers a solution of doing it piecemeal, but it's always preferable to do it.
I think you get a better standard warranty on it. Trouble with the old roof is the warranty's lapsed.
Yeah.
I would think we would try for that.
Okay. So
I think so too.
perhaps in time for the June meetings, we will have gone out. They will prepare with the bid packages, send it out to the, yeah, the usual houses plus vendors that they know about. And we'll get bids for each separately, and we can let them as you see fit. They're also preparing a biddable package that doesn't have a bid date in it for work that they've designed for the gazebo, and I'm sorry, but I gave that set of plans to the park board to take a look at. It involves ramps coming from about 3/4 of the way around on each side and up with a flat landing in the back, and a rail around the back and down the side of the ramp, and a couple extra rails added in front. I've talked to Phil, and he is pretty convinced that we couldn't do it internally, besides trying to spec out rails and have somebody manufacture. It's a lot of concrete. It's sort of not octagonal shape, and so forms would be impossible, but they would be difficult in high school, and a contractor would probably, paying for a prevailing wage rate would cost us about the same as having to buy floor lumber. And instead of putting on sidewalk replacement and stuff like that. The park board is not sure that they have the money for it this year or next year, so what we're gonna do is have a biddable package and then talk about how the budget is going, and they will make a decision later on whether to this year or postpone it till next year. That cost will be borne by the park board. In my mind, likely out of the park sales tax.
As a report.
Yeah, well, they're doing a lot of ADA work on all the concession stands slash restrooms right now, and that's still a bit up in the air as far as cost wise. And I think doing those ramps at the gazebo are going to be in the neighborhood of 10,000.
So maybe down the list of ways from the other stuff.
Well, given that some of the other stuff is already in progress,
Right.
yeah, it's down the list of ways. But I'm just giving you a heads up that at least the work on City Hall will be done. I won't be around to see it, but once the tuck pointing and roof repairs are done and sealed up once again, then we can look at plaster work in community room, maybe a little plaster in some of the, or some sort of ceiling covering it in the mechanical rooms, redoing wallpaper, redoing, if you notice, carpet's got snags and it needs to be replaced pretty badly. It's going on 15 plus years old, which is, for a commercial building,
Sure.
that's a good lifetime.
Yeah.
The girls want to maybe do tile in some places, I'll leave that to them, but, it'll be real, we can replace bad tiles once it's sealed,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
the wallpaper and the carpet,
Right.
I would like to do an awning over the front door, like we have over the side doors,
Right.
and then, a little bit longer time, run the storm sewer down alongside in front and pick up all the roof drains into storm sewers instead of having the plates on the sidewalk. And that way we can then redo Larry's ramp, the bottom of our ramp that Great Plains suggests are both very,
Yeah.
I mean, they're ramps, but they don't meet the technical specs of federal regulation. Those things will be are a lesser amount, but they can be done next year.
Yeah. Did they meet the regulations when they were installed?
I thought they did. The engineer thought they did.
Okay. So,
Unfortunately,
Well-
the engineer is no longer in business.